The next stop on our tour, viewers, is at Traditional Boat Finishes. Hand brush finishes, preserving your heritage. Run by Patricia Ross, and here we are in Bracebridge, part of beautiful Muskoka, Ontario. Let's go in and see what Patricia's got on offer this year. Let me introduce you to Patricia Ross, viewers. She's the owner of this operation, which specializes in refinishing beautiful wooden boats. And I'm going to pan the camera around to quite an unusual, somewhat shocking boat. Now, Patricia's worked with the owner on this boat. She's had a special arrangement, and he's come in and worked with her, and she's shown him how to varnish properly, I presume, and caulk seams properly, and so on. This, he's hoping to do 100 miles an hour in this watercraft. It certainly looks stern-heavy with this humongous engine in it. And Patricia, I think you said he had fiberglass the bottom?
Yes, yeah. We took the motor out and fiberglass the bottom and put some stripes on it to help do what boats do. I don't know, I just make them pretty. This is a Muskoka boat. It's an Ames. I believe it's an early 50s. So he's hoping to get it back out on Lake Muskoka this year.
So it really was it's a gentleman's racer, I suppose, and it really was designed for that originally.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And was it fiberglassed on both inside and outside, you know, just the exterior?
No, yeah.
Just
actually, it was never fiberglass.
I see.
He decided to do that when he wanted it to go 100 miles an hour. He thought it needed a little more reinforcement. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, it certainly has a huge engine in it, and we wish him all the best. This is really the hot rodder boat, I guess, of the genre.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, we'll take a break, viewers, and we'll pan around to some more traditional boats in just a moment. In the main part of Patricia's shop, we have a couple of beautiful hacker craft, I guess, to be technically correct. This is a 1989 hacker craft, and it looks like it's just had some coats of beautiful varnish installed. And I'm going to pan the camera around past a huge Shepherd, which apparently is currently for sale. And Patricia is going to make a few comments on that shortly. And then finally we have another hacker craft, and this we believe is about 1991. And is this also for sale, Patricia?
Yes.
This hacker craft?
Yes.
Yes. So two of the three of these boats are for sale. And you were just telling me a little bit about the Shepherd here.
It's a 1962 Shepherd. It was built for the Hilroy family. It was commissioned for the Hilroy family, the ones that do the stationery for schools, pencils, that sort of thing. So it's not your normal 24-foot Shepherd. The ceiling on the inside, they've done a fabulous job of mahogany slats, and it just dresses the boat up beautifully.
It's a beautiful, huge, wide hull. And did you have to strip it down completely, Patricia?
No. I put a coat of varnish, a couple of coats of varnish on the deck and the hull, and painted the bottom.
Oh, it's wonderful. It looks like it just stepped out of the showroom. We'll break again, viewers, and we'll get a shot of the interior shortly. Here we are for a more close-up view of this amazing Shepherd. It has twin 318 engines, we believe, and probably a pretty fast top speed in knots. Panning around towards the bow. Beautiful, beautiful woodwork in this watercraft. And Patricia was telling me even the chair here has been bolted down. In case of a fast takeoff, no one's going to go flying from their deck chair. This boat is in absolutely pristine condition. Anyone interested in purchasing it could perhaps contact Patricia at her shop in Bracebridge. Thanks, Patricia. You do beautiful work.
Thank you.
Our last stop for this part of the tour, the day before the Antique and Classic Boat Society tour in Muskoka, is at this lovely little workshop in Gravenhurst, operated by Mike Windsor. Let's go in and see what Mike has on tap.
All right. This boat here that we're looking at is actually a copy of El Lagardo. It was built fairly recently. Built by a fellow in upstate New York. It had a few issues which I've been working on. The rudder, I fabricated this one here, designed the trending bearing, which is quite unique to race boats. This is actually where it started with the rudder. This is a pattern which I machined on my CNC rudder.
Wow.
From high density urethane foam. I factored in the shrinkage for the casting because the casting is actually a bit smaller than the pattern. Then the rudder, the challenge of this is everything has to be perfectly aligned, because when the rudder turns, this pivots. This is called the trunnion bearing at the bottom. The trunnion bearing pivots and it supports the prop from the back end. Now the advantage of this, and so they thought, was that there's no strut directly in front of the propeller.
Okay.
So the propeller is grabbing undisturbed water, which is a theory. And a lot of people say you get an extra 10 miles an hour out of the boat. It depends where it is. It's interesting that this is something they came up with back in the 20s, and the latest technology, the surface piercing drives where you have the propeller running behind the boat.
Right.
But it's really nothing new. And I don't think I have the steering totally hooked up yet, but I don't.
And I think you said you'd done a new instrument panel for this boat as well?
Yes, this one just had some generic gauges in it. So these instruments here, they were custom made.
Beautiful.
They're reproductions of the originals. And that device on the right is called the clum switch.
And what does that do, Mike?
That's essentially the ignition switch.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's a reproduction of a Liberty switch. Originally, you would have probably one would be wired for it has an L and an R. One would be wired for each bank of the cylinders.
Okay.
On the engine.
So you're talking about a Liberty engine, which was originally an aircraft engine, I understand.
Yes.
Right.
And this boat, the original El Lagarto, it had a Miller racing engine in it. This boat will have a supercharged 454 big block shell.
Wow. And I presume it will cruise at probably, what, 50, 60 knots?
Somewhere around there. We're not really sure. We've done a few changes. He's added a supercharger this year, so that's going to be a bit more horsepower. The trunnion and the propeller running where it is, it's a new propeller. That's going to have a bit of an effect, too.
Right.
And I've done some, if you get a shot of the bottom here, there's several steps in the bottom here.
It's a 3-step hull by the look of it.
It's actually 5.
5, wow. Oh yes, of course. Viewers, I don't know if you can see this, but we'll see. And remind us of the purpose of the multi-steps, Mike.
The theory was that you get more air under it, so the boat's actually riding on top of the water. And Harry Greening had a boat called the Rainbow, which has a diagonal lap straight bottom, and it was disqualified because in the original Gold Cup races, steps were outlawed. And Harry Greening was disqualified after winning the Gold Cup. I can't remember exactly the year. It was sometime in the late 20s. Later on, they decided to allow steps, and of course, then eventually it became the unlimited class hydroplanes. But this is
so steps have become redundant in a sense because of the hydroplaning.
Steps on a boat are kind of a black art. They either work or they don't, and there's no real science about it other than kind of instinct, and you try it. Sometimes it works well, and other times it doesn't.
Yes. Anyway, this is a magnificent boat. Have you done some of the revarnishing as well?
Just the cockpit and the dashboard, which is not a challenge in itself, is doing woodwork and then varnishing without disturbing the existing varnish and something.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's certainly a magnificent boat. And so this would have been built in about 19... It's a reproduction?
Yes, this one is probably late 1990s.
1990s, okay. So it's quite a new boat, really. And it certainly looks it, even though it's got the classic beautiful lines of the original. Thank you very much, Mike.
Okay, Bob.